Hey guys, my name is Matteo, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formats out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Sam, and it is, I've been playing a lot of the Battlefield Hardline beta and loving it, but parachutes just seem really out of place. I could understand having them for the criminal side, but a cop normally carrying a parachute seems a little bit odd. What do you think of having it as a gadget for both factions or having it as a class-specific default carry item for the professional class? I agree with you. It simply does not fit that cops versus criminal theme because, as you said, you are never going to see a cop running around with a parachute strapped onto his back the entire time. I realize that the US police force is getting militarized more and more every single year, but I never think that they're going to get to that extent where it's a requirement to have a parachute on your back. And if they did decide to do this, it would actually make some of the other gadgets more viable in the game. If you couldn't rely on jumping out of a 3-story building and being safe the entire time, well, all of a sudden that opens up the zipline being a more useful and viable gadget on the battlefield. Right now, if you're on the 3rd story of Bank Job and you want to get down to ground level, all you have to do is jump off that 3-story building, pull your parachute at the last second, and you take no damage. As soon as you take away that mechanic that we've been used to for a really long time in the Battlefield franchise, you have to think about combat and these situations differently. I mean, you jump off a 3-story building, you're going to take a crazy amount of damage, or you might just die outright. I mean, that is a significant fall there. And so this is all of a sudden going to open up using the zipline. Right now, the zipline doesn't have a whole lot of play simply because the parachutes are in the game. It can get you from point A to point B a little bit faster. I mean, you do cruise while you're on the zipline, but unless you're playing on downtown and you're trying to zipline from one building to the other, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to use it to actually just get down to ground level. Way faster to just jump off and then pull your parachute at the last second. Way more effective. And so if they did decide to do this, it would make that gadget and just that battle pickup around the map way more viable. The thing is, though, and I think Visceral has basically come out and said that they did attempt to try and remove the parachutes. When they were internally testing and when they were trying to design the game, they tried giving it to certain classes or making it a gadget or just flat out removing it, but everything that they tried, it just wasn't fun gameplay-wise. We've come to grow to expect being able to jump off a 3-story building and pull the parachute. I mean, it's been in the Battlefield franchise for a very long time now, and taking that away slows down the gameplay a little bit. If you're on top of a rooftop and you want to get down to ground level, but you don't have a zip line, you're gonna have to take the long way down, and that may take a good 30 seconds to a minute to find and get back into the action. And while I don't think that's the worst thing that would ever happen to Battlefield, I think most Battlefielders would get over it, it does slow down the gameplay, and it's clear that Visceral wants to have that high, fast-paced action. I mean, one of their selling points is just simply ramping up the speed in Battlefield. That kind of goes against their design philosophy, and so I think that's the reason, or the main reason, why they've kept the parachutes in the game, even though it really doesn't fit the whole cops versus criminal theme. The next question for today comes from Nathan, and it is, what would you say about having another co-op campaign in the next Battlefield 5 or even Battlefield Hardline? I thought the concept in Battlefield 3 was good, however the levels were quite poor. I'm going to twist this around on you and ask you a question, and that is, would you rather the developers spend their time and resources creating a co-op campaign, or would you rather them take that time and all that money and resources and develop further into multiplayer and polishing out the multiplayer? Personally, I would rather them take those resources and development time and put it into the multiplayer. I spent a few hours in Battlefield 3's co-op campaign. It was enjoyable. I played it with a bunch of buddies that really weren't all that interested in the multiplayer. We had a good time, but at the end of the day, that was only a few hours out of like the 600 hours that I put into the multiplayer. The only way that I can really see EA bringing back a co-op campaign is if they believe that it's simply going to sell more copies for them. If they think that if that investment is going to make a return, if by allocating those resources and creating a co-op is going to bring in more gamers into the franchise, then they'll do it. But ask yourself, do you think that that's really going to happen? I mean, Battlefield is known for its multiplayer, not really its single player, definitely not for its co-op, and so I have a hard time believing that they will do this. Who knows? Maybe they will surprise me. Maybe they will bring it back for Battlefield 5, but because we didn't get it for 4, I have a feeling that it's not going to be coming in Hardline. I would be hard-pressed to say that it's going to happen in a future title, unless things change dramatically. The next question for today is, what do you think about the masks in Battlefield Hardline being a gas mask skin? This wouldn't make them as useless as they are and would still have the advantage you mentioned. If you're not aware of the masks that he is speaking of, basically there are going to be these prestigious masks that you can achieve in Hardline. We don't know how to unlock them. Apparently it's going to be very challenging to unlock them, but once you do, you'll get like a dino or a wolf mask depending on what faction you're playing on. The twist on it though is that if you want to run around with this prestigious mask on, it's going to take up one of your gadget slots. This upset many Battlefielders. They thought that, okay, cool, I like the idea of having a dino mask on my character, but why are we taking away the teamwork from the game? I mean, if I unlock it, why should I be less incentivized to help out my team? I mean, if I'm running around as the operator and I want to have the dino mask on, then I have to pick and choose between this and the med bag. The med bag is incredibly important to teamwork, and so why are we trying to take away that aspect from the game just so that I can have a really cool cosmetic item? On the other side though, and I'm assuming this is the reason why Visceral went down this path, is that in 3 to 4 months after the game releases, when everyone has achieved or unlocked these masks, if there wasn't any disadvantage, you would see them constantly on the battlefield. Everyone would have a mask on, and while I don't think that it would necessarily be a terrible thing, I think that they want to have this silly mask in the game because it's really cool, it's novel, it's a really cool feature, but I don't know if they want to have everyone wearing a mask the entire time. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna go crazy with it and have just an absurd amount of masks to choose from, something like the Team Fortress 2 hat system. That would be one way of making everyone look unique if they are wearing the masks. But my gut feeling is that since they have this as a gadget slot, they want it to be a funny thing in the game, but they also want it to be more of a humiliating way of killing your enemy. If they see you in the kill cam with a wolf mask on, they know that that person was running around with one less gadget, they were at a disadvantage, and so maybe that would be a little bit humiliating. I don't know. I'm assuming that's the reason why they have that restriction in the game. But I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Would you like them to go crazy with mask system, something like a Team Fortress 2 hat system? Do you think that that would be a cool idea and add some uniqueness into Hardline? Or do you think that that is pushing things too far, that is making the game too comical or crazy, and that would take away from the experience overall? Let me know down below. The next question for the day comes from Patrick, and it is, do you think that if DICE returned the gunner flares for the attack helicopters in Battlefield 4, would it finally make them a useful vehicle or an overpowered one? I'm gonna go out and say that this would be moving more into the overpowered category. You have to remember that right now on the CTE, which hopefully is gonna be going live for Battlefield 4, they are increasing the maneuverability of basically all of the helicopters, mainly the attack chopper. It is just simply more agile right now. And that agility is gonna play a huge role in you avoiding not only SRA's RPGs, but just simply to get behind cover so that you're not getting constantly locked on and taken out by Stinger missiles. I have a suspicion that when these patch notes go live, that more people are gonna want to jump into the attack helicopter. It's gonna be sought after more, and that's a good thing because it's supposed to be a powerful vehicle, and I think it's finally gonna get its time in the sun when these patch notes go live. The thing about your question though is that if they did bring back the gunner flares, I feel like that would be pushing things too far. If you remember back in Battlefield 3 before they nerfed it, this vehicle was basically the god of the sky. It was nearly impossible to take it down because of that flare combo. As long as you were playing somewhat conservatively and weren't flying around like a madman, you had no problem avoiding Stinger missiles all day long. It would take a lot to drop an attack helicopter. First of all, they'd have to get through 2 flares, and then they would have to launch enough flares after that to hopefully take out the vehicle before the other flare combo comes back up. Like, you had just a ridiculous amount of immunity in the sky, and it pretty much just came down to luck, or like an RPG, for example, to try and take out those pilots. And so you're absolutely right, this would definitely make them way more powerful on the battlefield, but the fact that they already are receiving a buff in the agility and maneuverability department, I think that is going to be enough, and if they did add in the countermeasures, that would simply be overkill. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.